Hey everybody, my name is Nick Russell and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Russtek. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you're getting these episodes and podcasts right away. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell below and you'll get a notification as soon as an episode comes out. As well as if you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you're subscribing to whatever platform you're listening on. So whether it be Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, make sure you subscribe so you get our episodes right away. So let's get into it. So what I want to talk to you about today is 7 ways as a small business owner we can get more done. Now, as a small business owner, there's so much going on, especially if you have a team. So you're worrying about getting all of your tasks done, making sure your team's getting things done. You're worrying about every aspect of your business. And that's a lot. So to help get more things done, there are a few different things that we could do to help streamline that process. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is batching similar tasks. Now, what's that mean? So if you're going to batch work, for example, as a social media manager, obviously we create and engage in social media for our clients. Now, one of the things that we do is we create the content, we create images, we post for clients, and then engage with those posts. Now, if we were going to do a client's work for an entire month, now we could go day by day and it would be a big headache, and it takes a lot of time doing it that way. But if we come up with a strategy and we start to batch work for each day, it makes things a lot easier. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you look at Russtek Media's Facebook page, we always have a Motivation Monday post. So now I know every Monday, I know exactly what kind of content that I want to put out. So depending on how many Mondays are in the month, so say there's 4 or 5 Mondays in a month, I'm going to get 4 or 5 quotes. I'm going to create those images, and then I'm going to put those off into a folder. And then I'm going to create my Tuesday work for the month, my Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to batch schedule. I'm going to schedule everything, every Monday post, get that out of the way. Every Tuesday post, every Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Doing things that way streamlines that process. It makes things a heck of a lot easier. And that doesn't only work for social media. That works for whatever business you're in, whatever task you have, batch similar tasks. Believe me, that's going to help you work a little bit faster and a little bit more efficient. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you about is tackling your toughest task in the morning. Now, not everybody's a morning person. A lot of people work a lot better at night, but for the most of us, the morning is when you're going to get most of your work done, especially if you're in a 9-to-5. If you own a business that it's a 9-to-5 type of job, that work in the morning, get that tough task out of the way. Or even if you're not a morning person, the first thing you should do is tackle that toughest task. So if you wake up and you sleep until noon, 1 o'clock, you don't start your day till 2, and then you work until late into the night, make sure that toughest task is the first thing you tackle. Because after an entire long day, you've got meetings, you've got this and that, and the last thing you want to do is get rid of all that easy work and then now have to dread doing that tough task that's been sitting there all day. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, and I'm sure I will get in trouble for some people because there is a task that I have got to finish, and I will, I promise. But yeah, make sure you have your toughest task, get that done first thing in the morning, and the rest of your day is going to be a lot easier, I promise. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is track the time it takes to do each task. Now, you could use a stopwatch. There's tons of apps out there that will help you track your time, even stuff for your computers. But track how long it takes you to do a task, especially if you're just starting out with something new. Now, why am I telling you just to track your time? Well, for one, if you're getting paid by the hour for a client, it's easy to track how much time you worked on, and you can charge your client appropriately. But more so, it helps you plan ahead. One thing that I absolutely love to do is I love planning ahead. I'm not working for just today, and I'm not working for just tomorrow or the next day. I'm looking a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead. I'm always planning ahead. I always have strategy in mind, and I know what I want to do a month from now, 2 months from now, and I'm working towards that. So if you track your tasks, if you're just starting a brand new task and it takes you an hour the first time, now you can kind of plan ahead for the next week or two. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So now that hour task, you can get done in a half an hour. So now you could add a little bit more work to that to-do list for the day and get a little more efficient. So that's the third thing we want to talk about. So make sure you track your time when you're working on a task. So the next thing that I want to talk to you about is break apart being productive. Now, some people may work a lot better, but for the most of us, if you're working in a continuous flow all day long, you're not going to be as productive. Our minds are going to start to wander a little bit. We're going to get a little tired. It doesn't matter how much coffee we drink. We're going to get tired after a little bit of time. So for me personally, the one thing that I like to do is I like to work in batches of hours. I like to focus really hard for 2, maybe 3 hours if I'm really in the zone, and then I'll take a break. I'll get a coffee, I'll go for a little bit of a walk, I'll make sure I get my steps on my Fitbit, get a phone call out of the way. But when I'm working on tasks, I make sure that I'm always taking a little bit of a break, even if it's a 5 to 10 minute break, just to kind of refresh a little bit, get a glass of water, fill up your water bottle, whatever the case may be, take that little break and then get back into it. Because the last thing you want is to have work on a big project, and you can see as you're starting the project, the work is great, and then it starts to go down because your mind's wandering and you're jotting down whatever. So make sure you take little breaks in between your day so that way you can stay productive and produce great work. The last thing I want to tell you to help stay productive and stuff is make a list for tomorrow. Make a list for the next week. Now, for those that know me, know I love the app Todoist. So Todoist, I-S-T. It's an app that's on your phone, your computer. It's Chrome extension. It's a widget if you've got an Android phone. I don't know if Apple has widgets in their phone, but I have a widget on my phone. It's everywhere. Now, the cool thing about this is you can create projects. You can have your actual tasks, schedule tasks, have reoccurring tasks. So always plan ahead. So if I'm recording a podcast, I know the day that I record podcasts are usually, on a Friday. And I'll try to get a couple podcasts recorded in the same day, and then I'll schedule them out accordingly. So one of my tasks is record podcast, and that reoccurs every Friday. So that's a few tips to help you get a little bit more done. And I want to know, what tips do you have that I didn't mention here to stay productive and to get more work done? So head over to our Facebook page, Russtek Media, and let's have a conversation. I will have a post on Thursday launching this podcast and letting everybody know that it is live. So head over there on Thursday. So no matter what day you're listening to this, if you're listening to it today, Thursday, the 1st? November 1st. Wow, can't believe that's coming up quick. So anyway, so if you're listening to this on November 1st, head over to our Facebook page. We posted this early this morning. Let's have a conversation, and I want to know what helps you stay productive and what ideas you have to get more work done. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and remember, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell if you're watching on YouTube so you can get our latest episodes, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.